Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing Sports. Boxing, you find a way to win, find a way to lose. Look, man, Errol Spence was closer to death making 147 than being in a car accident. Let me explain something to you. Everything about Errol Spence, from the car accident to getting down to 147, is just all bad. You know, nobody argues about the car accident. We all know that was unfortunate. There's a couple idiots on Twitter who point the finger at Errol Spence and look at the reason why he ended up in a car accident, and they don't want to let that go. And I just don't agree with that. But at the end of the day, majority of us who have some sense, we know what Errol Spence went through with that car accident was extremely hard and violent on his body. And he is very lucky to be here. Okay? So, that being said, no one is downplaying what that man went through, that car accident. But at the same time, when you have a fighter who's cutting, 40, 50 pounds, so many rumors about what Errol Spence walks around at, and the bad habits he's had, and, from alcohol consumption and eating a lot of food and really not maintaining his weight in between fights. Because I remember Errol Spence, I don't know who he fought. Was it Danny Garcia? But I remember at the end of the fight, or maybe it was Mikey Garcia. But I know at the end of the fight, he said he just wanted to eat a greasy burger out of like a brown paper bag with all the grease in the bag. He wanted that kind of hamburger. And I remember thinking to myself, that's not good. But that being said, if he still has those discipline issues with his nutrition, and it's true that he really had to cut like 40 or 50 pounds to get down in weight, that is not good. When you start cutting that weight like that and losing all that water and starving yourself, man, let me tell you something. Your internal organs, things can start shutting down. And probably the most concerning thing is just how you lose that lot of water that surrounds your brain. And when you talk about getting hit, when you're already severely dehydrated, well, that's problematic. And you seem to have been instances where some fighters, they don't even get in the ring. And they end up, passing away just because of the extreme weight cut and water cuts. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to tell you, there are some fighters who, and this is what we don't know about Spence, that managed to lose, 10, 15, maybe a little bit more % of their body weight in just a matter of, a few days. You know what I'm saying? And there are a lot of things they do. I've done a video talking about extreme weight cuts. Guys avoiding salt because salt absorbs water, man. Some guys drinking a whole lot of water before they start cutting weight. Guys start getting rid of carbs because they don't want that unnecessary weight gain. Some guys just stop eating, going 2-3 days without eating. Now that sounds far-fetched to a person like you and I, but that is one of the extremes fighters go through, where they just don't eat. Sometimes not drinking, just taking chips of ice. Could you imagine that? Some others are doing things which are not legal, but diuretics. And then you already know guys will go still on the day to weigh in, try to sweat it out or jog or do anything just to make that weight. And there are all kind of videos floating around where you see, fighters, struggling to get to the scale. You know what I'm saying? There was a huge problem with Munguia not too long ago, where the man was passing out. You know what I'm saying? Nobody talks about that. So I can only imagine what Errol Spence may have gone through and maybe just all ultimately, culminated in this last weight cut for Terrence Crawford, where his body just said, look, no mas. It just didn't respond like he was hoping it would. But I'm going to tell you this. This whole thing about Errol Spence and the fact that him and Crawford may have to fight at 147 again if Errol Spence doesn't write a letter saying he can no longer make 147. Look, I understand Errol Spence wants to make the big payday, but it's not worth it if he's going to sit there now and find himself back in a situation where he's trying to cheat death again. You see, this is within his control. It's within his control. This has nothing to do with whatever he was doing before he got behind the car at Ferrari and the unfortunate happened. This is something totally independent of that. He has a choice right now. He knows what the outcome more than likely is going to be, right? He's already gone through it. So why would Errol Spence risk death by cutting weight again and putting himself, what he put himself through, to fight Terrence Crawford the first time, a second time? It's just not smart. Now, I'm going to tell you this. The reason why a lot of people cut weight, like most of you know, is they want to have an advantage over their opponents, okay? And most of the time when guys are cutting weight to have an advantage over their opponent, it's because they're getting themselves down to a weight class they don't belong. For years you've heard Errol Spence talk about fight at 175, 168, what he puts himself through to get to 147. That's not normal. It's not natural. Now he's in a bad situation because he finally got himself to the point to where he, as the big fish, wanted to fight for undisputed and get all the belts like he's always wanted. But something went wrong. I think Terrence Crawford has a whole lot to do with what went wrong. But at the same time, we got to be very fair when we're looking at all the reasons why Errol Spence lost that fight. Now, to me, Terrence Crawford has 90% to do with that loss. But I think when you have somebody who's trying to come in the ring on fight night heavier than their opponent, because their natural weight division is probably 2 weight divisions above where they're fighting at, I think we gotta understand that maybe, just maybe Errol Spence didn't really regain the type of water between weigh-ins and the fight that he normally does, and as a result, maybe that somehow plagued his performance. But then again, I don't know. We're just having a conversation. Yeah. Some people say dangerous weight cuts don't have really any effect on a win or a loss. So see, that's the other side of the argument. There are some experts, it's not, Hood Champion talking to you. There are experts out there who say, look, that extreme weight cut doesn't have a damn thing to do. You have a lot of fighters out here who have extreme weight cuts, and they get in the ring and knock out the other opponent. So it probably has something to do with the opponent. So you're always going to get different opinions and people finger pointing. But I'm going to tell you this. For Errol Spence, let me tell you something. He is an exclusive fighter. Terrence Crawford is an exclusive fighter. And it's important that they're being promoted effectively. And the next move for Errol Spence, as far as if he decides to fight at 147, or if he's going to try to push for 154 by writing a letter saying he can no longer make 147, I think that can definitely affect how effective he's promoted and the fight's promoted. Because if you think about it, if Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight at 147, how effectively can that fight be promoted? We know it's a rematch. We know it's a big fight. But at 147, you tell me, how effectively can the damn fight between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence be promoted? There's a lot of people who don't even want to see them rematch at 154 or 160. But I tell you what, if the fight happens at 154, I think you can effectively promote the fight, because now you're giving fans something different. You understand? You're giving fans something different where they can say, well, hold on, that's not the way they fought it last time. Okay, well, damn, Errol Spence has a chance. Yeah, let's wait, let's see. But you can't come now. It's like if my neighbor has a pit bull and the pit bull's not on the leash, and I go in the backyard and he says, hey, go ahead and pet him. He doesn't bite, and I pet him and he takes off my damn hand. I finally go, I get healed up, whatever. About a year later, I get the confidence to go back in his backyard. And he's like, oh, yeah, don't worry, man. The pit bull, he's all trained out. Pit bull's not on the leash, doesn't have a muzzle. He said, yeah, go ahead and pet him. Yo, you think I'm going to pet that dog again? You would have that thing in a damn cage and with a muzzle on if you want me to come and get anywhere near that damn dog. But you made a change. Now, maybe I'm a little more comfortable, although I lost my hand. But maybe I'll come back over there and we can kind of see how things go. But for Errol Spence, it's the same thing. When this man go out there messing with this damn pit bull at 147 again and and having him lock onto him and shake him and shred him the way he did? Nah, man. Bubble on up to 154. Now we see, okay, he back in there with the pit bull, but it shouldn't be able to get a hold of him the way it did and damage him the way it did. There's more of a chance that he'll be able to get in there and hold his own. And maybe he gets to lock on to Terrence Crawford this time and shake him up a little bit. But the thing is, we don't know. I have an opinion, but if you follow the videos, you know what my opinion is on this. I think Errol Spence is elite. I think Crawford's just a little more elite. But that being said, for Errol Spence, man, I don't know what's going to happen, but I would really hope he managed his weight between the first fight, and he's going to continue to manage it going up into the rematch. And he's able to drop weight relatively slowly with a proper diet. That way, if he has a fight at 147, which I just don't want to see that happen, at least he's not drastically trying to drop water weight using extreme methods, right there before the weigh-in. Because then he's back in the same situation. You know what I'm saying? And let me just point something out to y'all. For those of you who are saying, man, you keep talking about extreme, weight cuts and stuff. Let me give you an example. When we're talking about an extreme weight cut, a drastic weight cut, we're talking about how some guys drop 32 pounds, 25 pounds for a fight, 21 pounds for a fight, 17 pounds for a fight. And in the lighter weight classes, when you see guys dropping 10 and 12 pounds, I'm talking about guys who are fighting at like, damn, 100, 108 pounds, 112 pounds. When you see them having to drop 12, 13, 14 pounds and get down there, that's considered extreme because they already don't have no damn weight to lose anyway. So it is what it is. If a fighter is closer to the top end limit for a weight class, they're more likely to try to stay in a natural division because, look, it's just not worth it to be out here bubbling up in between fights and then trying to lose another 10 or 12 pounds, right before the weigh-in. It's just not good, man. It's not good. Errol Spence is just a fighter that's exceeded the division's weight limit, man. Okay, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we'll see what the decision is. If you didn't see that video I just did, Terrence Crawford went on record and said basically the rematch weight is on Errol Spence because he's cool with fighting at 147. It's really on Errol Spence. That being said, man, y'all keep cool. Really hope Errol Spence makes the right choice. But we know when the secret society and key decision makers get involved, man, Terrence Crawford could end up losing those belts. He may keep him at 147 if he fights at 154. We just don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, if these sanctioning bodies all are on the same page, Terrence Crawford can get stripped if he chooses to go up to 154 and fight Spence in a rematch, unless the contract is very. See, the thing is, I don't know what's in the contract, but if the contract is worded a kind of way where these sanctioning bodies are understanding of him having the rematch with Errol Spence and he goes to 154, maybe they say he holds on to his belts. But, you know, some people feel that, hey, if Crawford goes to 154 to fight Errol Spence, he's holding up the welterweight division. We have a bottleneck again, like what we had over the last couple of years, because him and Errol Spence were trying to figure out what they were going to do. And not everybody's going to be happy with that. Guys like Boots Ennis are already pissed off because they want to fight. Stan Eunice is pissed off because he wants to fight, because these guys are in mandatory positions, you know. They're right there on the cusp of getting that crack at the 4-for-1 deal. But we'll see, because if these guys are getting lawyers involved, you know, could be a bit of a headache for Terrence Crawford, where he may just drop them belts anyway. But I think Crawford's trying to hold on to those belts to make that damn Canelo fight. That way it's, you know, undisputed versus undisputed. And you may see Crawford hold on to those belts for as long as he can, just hoping to cash out with Canelo. But we have to wait and see how all that works out, and if that dream fight that Crawford has come to fruition. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Errol Spence and making that weight, 147, I think the car accident was very unfortunate, but I think him getting out of 147 is not any better, man, because of what he's doing to his body and the damage he ends up taking in the ring, especially what he took against Terrence Crawford. I just don't think he can afford to go through that again. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Yo, I'm in the breeze.